Part 77. The Lucky Bag is Reborn with Space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 761. Chapter 761 Letting Go of the Past. Qin Dazhuang pulled Zhang Xian and put them in the car, got in with his lips pursed, and started the car. There was not a word along the way. Zhang Xian looked at the anger on Qin Dazhuang's face. Unexpectedly, he didn't say anything. It is really unexpected that Qin Dazhuang can perform like this. It was probably the only time in Qin Dazhuang's life that he could protect their mother and daughter with such arrogance and force, and it was also the only time in Zhang Xian's life that she saw her husband protecting them regardless of anything. It would be a lie to say that Zhang Xian was not moved. How much he was moved. It seems that there is still a trace of grievance, injustice, and grievance that has finally been released in this emotion. He watched the car stop in an alley, watched Qin Dazhuang get out of the car, and took his two daughters out of the car with a smile. Zhang Xian asked strangely. "Dazhuang, what are we doing here?" Qin Dazhuang chuckled and mysteriously pulled Zhang Xian and his daughter inside. "Go home. Go home." Zhang Xian asked in surprise. "Looking at the small second floor in front of me." Qin Dazhuang took out the key from his pocket, opened the door, and pushed the door open. He signaled Zhang Xian and his two daughters to go in, and the two children rushed in. Seeing the condition inside the house, the two children almost cheered. This is the first time they have seen this kind of building. Although the courtyard at my grandma's house is also very large, it only has one floor. And this is a two-story small building, which they have never seen before. They have seen other people living in buildings, but they were all kind of tube buildings or collective buildings. Everyone cooks, washes their face, and even goes to the toilet in a common place. Seeing the two children running up and down the stairs like wild horses scattering flowers, even Zhang Xian couldn't help but smile. Qin Dazhuang held his wife by the hand and walked into the door. "Zhang Xian, this is the home I prepared for you and your daughter." Zhang Xian realized that the house had been completely tidied up and should have been renovated a long time ago. The entire decoration made the room look a bit resplendent. Walking into the lobby on the first floor, you can see the latest sofas in the living room. The bright floor-to-ceiling windows allow people sitting on the sofa here to bask in the sunlight coming in from the window, making them feel warm while sitting here. Looking out into the yard at the door, the green grass and bright flowers are pleasing to the eye. From here, you can still see a swing set up under the tree in the yard. The two children seem to have discovered their new toy a long time ago. They rushed out and sat on the swing, pushing each other and swinging, having a great time. Qin Dazhuang took Zhang Xian into his arms. "Zhang Xian, this is our home from now on, our home and our daughters. There are 5 rooms upstairs. Our daughters and our bedrooms are upstairs. There are 2 rooms downstairs. If anyone comes, they can stay here. Live. Of course I also invited my aunt. This way, someone will clean, tidy up the house, and cook for the children when you are not at home, so you don't have to bother your parents-in-law every time. And I will go home to stay with the children when you are busy in the future. I want to make up for the shortcoming of not being by your side for so many years. This time, it's our family of 4's home and there will never be anyone else. I will never let you and the children suffer again." Zhang Xian leaned in Qin Dazhuang's arms, her eyes moist. She had no idea that Qin Dazhuang would change like this. In the past, she had almost no hope for Qin Dazhuang, because Qin Dazhuang was very filial to Qin's mother. But now I never expected that Qin Dazhuang would make such a big change for her and the children. Just looking at the decoration of the house, you can tell that Qin Dazhuang has already prepared to prevent her and the children from living with Qin's mother. He must have been afraid that they would be wronged, so he could think of this early. Naturally, it was because Qin Dazhuang regarded them as his closest relatives in his heart. The feeling of being so valued and cherished by someone made her finally feel relieved. Maybe her choice was not wrong. Dazwang, I really didn't expect you to do so much for me and my children. Qin Dazwang pushed Zhang Xian away and looked at Zhang Xian seriously, apologetically in his eyes. Daughter-in-law, I don't know what happened to me in those years. It's like being possessed by an evil spirit. Doing such unworthy things has never changed in my heart. You are the woman I love most. I have never disliked the fact that you gave birth to a daughter, and I have never disliked my own two daughters. I don't know that at that time, I was like a ghost. When I saw the gambling table, I jumped on it, as if I was crazy. There was nothing in my eyes. But I am different now. I remember that I was lying in the hospital, and my daughter's little hand stuffed the dried peach, which had a sweet and sour taste, into my mouth. There were some dried peach on the hand. The smell of sweat in my daughter's hands. It was sour, sweet, and had a salty taste, but after I finished eating it, my eyes suddenly became clear and my heart suddenly understood. Looking at her little face, I suddenly realized how wrong I had been. From that day on, I really changed. I think I have to thank my daughter for the dried peach. It was the dried peach that allowed me to completely change my face, change my mind, and become a new person. Otherwise, I probably still don't know which corner I squatted on the street corner, drinking and gambling with those people, and I might have been beaten to death by now because of my gambling debts. How can there be a day when our family can be reunited together? So seriously, I should really thank my daughter. Thank you, for teaching your daughter so well. Qin Dazwang hugged Zhang Xian tightly, and Zhang Xian sighed. Perhaps this is really called the prodigal son who never returns for his money. I hope that their family can really get through all the hardships, remembering what my father said to me in the room. Zhang Lishi was very serious about confirming that his daughter was what he wanted. He didn't say anything else. His father just told Zhang Xian that since he chose to continue this marriage, he had to let go of the past, as long as Qin Dazwang really changed all the shortcomings in the past. We must accept a brand new Qin Dazwang, otherwise the couple will live together, because it will be easy to have conflicts again after settling the old scores. Zhang Xian indeed took these father's words to heart. Now it seems that it is really time to let go of the past. All the past should be wiped out and let them welcome a new life. And Qin Dazwang did what she said. Starting from the next day, I send my two daughters to school early every day, take Zhang Xian to work on the way, and then go to my store to work on my business. 3 days later, they hired a more agreeable aunt to come to the house to help them clean the house, tidy up the house, and cook for the children. In the afternoon, Qin Dazwang will go to school to pick up his two daughters and go home. He will stay at home with his two daughters to do homework, eat, play games, and wait for his daughter-in-law to come home. When he has time, he will leave the two children to his aunt. Qin Dazwang will pick up his wife after get off work, and even have a romantic date for the two of them. Although they just simply watched a movie and walked in the park, the relationship between the two people heated up rapidly, as if they had returned to the time when they were in love. There will be 2 updates today and tomorrow, and 3 updates will be resumed later. The author celebrates the new year and wishes everyone a good new year too. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 762. Chapter 762 An Unexpected Shock. Zhang Xian vomited in the toilet early in the morning. Qin Dazwang helped his wife carry her back and brought a glass of warm water to Zhang Xian. Wife, what's wrong with you? Did you eat something unclean yesterday? Zhang Xian clutched her chest, obviously unable to spit out anything, but she still felt sick in her heart. I don't know what's wrong with me. It seems to be like this all the time in the past few days, but today is probably the worst. Do you have some disease? I had the same meal as you last night, millet porridge, steamed buns, and vegetables. You are all fine. I should be fine too. I have to go check up on my health some other time. I seem to be feeling really unwell in the past 2 days. I always feel sick. I feel like vomiting and can't eat anything. After saying this, Zhang Xian and Qin Dazhuang looked at each other. They are both an old couple and have given birth to 2 daughters. The situation seems to be almost exactly the same as when the 2 daughters were pregnant. Wife, could it be? Qin Dazhuang hesitated for a moment, but did not say what he wanted to say. At my own age, my wife is also at the same age, both in their 40s. He had never thought that his wife would be pregnant, and neither of them had done any contraceptive treatment. Zhang Xian obviously thought of this too. Qin Dazhuang carefully helped Zhang Xian to the sofa. Qin Dazhuang, it's all your fault. What should I do now? I'm so old. If you look at the 2 children, one is already 18 and the other is 16. Even my brother's child is 8 years old now. At such an old age, I am still pregnant. How do you want them to see me? Zhang Xian didn't expect that she would have such an incident. She had always felt that she was 45 years old. It is impossible to have a child. Neither of them had thought about it, otherwise Zhang Xian wouldn't have thought of her pregnancy just now. But if this is really a pregnancy, both daughters will be so old. Is this child born or not? Qin Dazhuang was careful not to apologize. It's all my fault, my wife, it's all my fault, isn't that okay? Then what do you think we should do with this child now, give birth or not? Let me tell you, family planning is strictly enforced now. Our 2 girls are so old. Then the director of family planning will come to ask me to do it. Abortion, do you want to do it or not? This time it's very embarrassing. Zhang Xian deliberately said that she did not want this child, but she also knew that Qin Dazhuang wanted a son. Although Qin Dazhuang kept silent, he was very kind to his 2 daughters. But deep down in his heart, Qin Dazhuang still retains the idea of a conservative man, thinking that his son is the foundation for continuing the family line and supporting the family business. But I have to give birth to a child at such an old age, and I have to go into hiding to give birth to the child. The director of family planning is not a jobber. People are looking at these people with keen eyes. Of course Zhang Xian is not within the family's scope. Given her age and the fact that the children in the family are already adults, she naturally has not been thought of. However, if she does not hide and cover up, this child will definitely not be born. Qin Dazhuang accompanied him with a smile. Daughter-in-law, don't care about other people's opinions, otherwise you will give birth to the child. The 2 of us earn enough to pay the fine for the child. Zhang Xian rolled her eyes at Qin Dazhuang. I know you are still longing for a son. Let your 2 daughters hear it, and be careful they say you favor sons over daughters. Qin Dazhuang hurriedly glanced upstairs. Both daughters are at an important stage of their studies. The eldest is taking the college entrance examination this year, and the second is also in high school. They are facing quite stressful learning conditions. The 2 children did not come out of the room at all. This was relieved. The 2 daughters were his heart and liver, and the 2 children were polite at all, and they would be said directly. He got used to it. Who can you blame? He didn't want to break the hearts of his 2 daughters. In the eyes of his daughter, he is the best biological father in the world. Keep your voice down. Don't worry, even if you really give birth to a son, I will treat them equally. The future family property of the 3 of them will be divided equally among the 3 of them. It's not that you don't know, I will give to my daughter has already bought a house and put it there. Do you think I will feel bad for my 2 daughters? Qin Dazhuang was not prepared for the fact that his wife would give birth to another child, so he had already made plans for his 2 daughters. In the future, his family property would be used as dowry for his 2 daughters. Whoever dares to bully his two daughters, his father-in-law will fight tooth and nail. It will naturally change now. Qin Dazhuang really wanted a son from the bottom of his heart, but he never thought about neglecting his daughter because of his son. I really haven't thought about it. Qin Dazhuang is not the same Qin Dazhuang as before. The two daughters are the guiding light in his life and his salvation when he is stuck in the quagmire and cannot extricate himself. If it weren't for his daughter, how could Qin Dazhuang have a perfect family now? How could my wife come back to me? Qin Dazhuang's feelings are different from those of ordinary men. He has long felt the warmth of human relationships, and he also knows what a person needs most and what is most important. Of course, these words are not words, but his real thoughts. Zhang Xian didn't know that she was having a headache for this little guy who was about to arrive. At her age, she was really unprepared to have another child. Go back home in the afternoon. Zhang Xian's face looked ugly, and Qin Dazhuang's expression was cautious. There was nothing he could do. The doctor was very sure. Zhang Xian is 3 months pregnant. The child is very healthy. Wife. Qin Dazhuang knew that Zhang Xian was not happy, and he had not expected anything. This unexpected little life made him very happy. But it is normal for a wife to be worried. They are quite young. Go and call your daughter downstairs. Qin Dazhuang had no choice but to go up and call for help. Qin 11 and Qin Meng were confused. Both of them are in high school. Qin 11 is already a senior in high school and is preparing to take the college entrance examination this year. Parents usually pay very close attention to their studies and have no time to play heart-to-heart games with them. This is something that has never happened in a century. The request was that the father looked embarrassed, as if something had happened that the parents were helpless to do. This is too strange. Qin Meng is very smart and has always been smart. When she was a child, she showed extraordinary understanding and intelligence. Give your sister a look. Sister, could it be that our father made some mistake? Qin 11 shook his head. Is it possible that there is a problem with our business? Both sisters looked at their parents suspiciously. The parents were sitting upright on the sofa, with serious expressions on their faces. This expression, this atmosphere, doesn't seem right. The two sisters also became serious. End of this chapter. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Lucky Bag is Reborn with Space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 763. Chapter 763 Unjust Accusation. Mom and Dad, is our family bankrupt? Qin 11 asks seriously. If something big happened to their family that would make their parents panic, it would probably be bankruptcy. What other things can't they think of? At first, the two sisters thought that their father had committed another bad habit, but after searching everything in their minds, they could not see any signs of this in their father. The father who hangs around the three of them as soon as he gets off work cannot possibly have time to gamble. The only thing that may embarrass both parents is this. The two sisters naturally had this problem. Zhang Xian was stunned, and Qin Dazhuang opened his mouth wide. Looking at the expressions of their parents, the two sisters felt that they had guessed correctly. Mom, Dad, do you owe a lot of debt? Qin 11 guessed, otherwise why would his parents have such expressions? Qin Meng thought, Mom and Dad, I can set up a small stall after school. I never told you. In fact, I set up a stall selling things in front of the school. My income is pretty good. I earn more than 1,000 yuan a month. I now save I have 30,000 yuan, which I saved in 3 years of junior high school. I can help you pay off your debts. Qin 11 also said. Mom and Dad, don't worry, we are about to grow up, and it will not be a problem for me to get into a good university with my grades. I can work part-time in university to make money for living expenses, and I can also make money to pay for my sister's tuition. At most, our parents are still the same as before. Mom works as a tailor and dad sells pancakes. Don't worry about face issues, we can live a good life. Let's work together to pay off the debt, don't worry, parents. We can take this blow, even if we have to sell the house. We can buy a small house and have a little money left to pay off the debt. If that's not enough, I can also go to college and set up a stall. I will definitely be able to help you. Zhang Xian and Qin Dazhuang couldn't laugh or cry. But I felt warm in my heart. Although the two children guessed this matter, it was completely different from what they wanted to say. The problem is that the two children have such a childish attitude, and they always think of ways to help their parents pay off their debts. Moreover, a child at such a young age actually has the idea of doing a business. Look at the little girl who has been secretly doing business behind their backs for 3 years in junior high school. I don't know if they are two competent parents or if they are incompetent. It felt warm and sad in my heart. Mom and Dad, please speak up. No matter how big something happens at home, don't worry. Your two daughters have grown up and can help you. It's not like we couldn't do anything when we were children. There are so many things we can do now. Too much. The two daughters are sincere. Qin Dazhuang and Zhang Xian burst out laughing. The two laughing children were a little dazed. Qin 11 and Qin Meng looked at their parents with pity. It's over, it's over. Their parents were a little nervous because of the shock. Qin 11 and Qin Meng walked over, each holding their parents in their arms. Mom, no, really, we have grown up and we can help you bear everything as long as we are together as a family, we are not afraid of any difficulties. Zhang Xian smiled so much that she touched her belly and nodded repeatedly, child, you are so good. Qin Dazhuang laughed so hard that he couldn't stand upright. Dad, please slow down, don't do this. You had nothing before and you could still make a comeback now. It's not a problem, we can get through it. Qin Dazhuang nodded repeatedly. Lady, Dad knows, I know. That's good, parents, we will. Qin 11 and Qin Meng want to express their determination. But that's not what we're talking about. Zhang Xiao looked at his daughters with a smile. The two daughters have now grown up and are slim and graceful. Especially the two women have concentrated the advantages of the couple. They are really as beautiful as flowers and jade, which makes people happy. But what is more attractive about the two children is not their appearance, but the strength in their eyes, which is something that ordinary children do not have. It is the maturity and stability that they should not have at this age. Now seeing their two daughters supporting and encouraging them so much, Zhang Xian and his wife feel so warm in their hearts that they want to cry. This is family. Isn't this the case? Is there anything else? Qin 11 paused and turned to look at his father suspiciously. Qin Meng put his hands on his hips and looked at Qin Dazhuang angrily. Qin Dazhuang was seen as a bit weak. Why do you feel so guilty? It is obvious that I have done nothing wrong. What is this for? Lottie, Zayadai, don't look at Dad like that, it's so scary. Dad, you asked us to recruit Diradai, didn't you tell us not to call her by this name? Qin Meng said angrily. This name is unpleasant to listen to. Isn't it just her father's longing for his son? I'm afraid that no one will know. Okay, Zixi, Meng, that's it? Qin Dazhuang surrendered immediately. He would not compromise on his daughter. Dad, tell me honestly, what outrageous thing have you done? Looking at the two daughters, they are almost extremely vicious. They surround themselves, and they can roll up their sleeves at any time when they see something. What are you two doing? I'm your father. Is it possible that you two still want to kill each other out of righteousness? Qin Dazhuang was so frightened that he leaned back on the sofa. he was so frightened by his daughter that he was unprecedented. Qin Dazhuang, who had little education, felt that he suddenly became educated. Dad, you are quite literate, and you actually know the words justice destroys relatives. This idiom is specially given to you. Are you going to gamble again? Have you lost all your family property? Let me tell you, if you really gamble, don't blame the two of us for killing each other. Mom. Divorce my dad as soon as possible, and then you take the two of us out. Even if we don't have a penny, the two of us will follow you. We will definitely not follow a gambler like this. It will save him every day. I lost my bet and got desperate, so I sold the two of us to others for money. Qin Dazhuang was very happy. You are really your mother's biological daughter. Look, you're still trying to persuade your mother to divorce me. Qin Dazhuang looked at Zhang Xian resentfully. Zhang Xian laughed loudly. Your dad was wronged. Your dad didn't do anything bad. My own man also has this day, and he feels so happy in his heart. Only then did Qin 11 and Qin Meng understand what kind of tricks their parents were playing. Mom, what do you and my dad have to tell us? It's better to hurry up and make us guess here. We are worried about you too. Zhang Xian touched her belly. It was a blessing, not a curse. It was a curse that could not be avoided. This matter had to be faced after all. Let's see what the attitude of these two children towards this future little life was. Your father did a good job. Zhang Xian still couldn't speak. Let me tell you. Anyway, sooner or later you will know that your mother is pregnant. Qin Dazhuang told him honestly, looking at his daughters anxiously. A pair of daughters' eyes widened. Her mother is pregnant? 3 updates will be resumed tomorrow. Thank you for your support. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 764. Chapter 764. Agree. What? Qin 11 and Qin Meng said in unison. Looking at her mother's belly in surprise. The place looks very flat now, but now there is a little life inside. Qin Dazhuang gritted his teeth. Your mother is 3 months pregnant. We called you down today just to ask for your opinion. Do you like to welcome this upcoming sister or brother? Qin Dazhuang deliberately put the younger brother behind him with a guilty conscience, and kept his voice low. I am afraid that my 2 daughters will think that they want a boy. Although he has this intention, he absolutely does not want his daughter to misunderstand that he really favors sons over daughters. He really didn't have that intention. Mom, really? Zhang Xian's face turned red and couldn't help but blush. Faced with 2 teenage daughters, it feels so weird to suddenly have a baby. What should my daughter think? Real? With a difficult answer, Zhang Xian lowered her eyes, not daring to look at her daughter's expression. Whether this life will be welcomed by my daughter is unknown. She was very uneasy. Actually, it's okay if you don't want this child. Family planning is not allowed anyway, and you will be fined if you give birth. Mom is so old now, and she is worried about whether her body can take care of him, her. Mom, having you 2 is actually enough. Zhang Xian didn't want her daughter to be disappointed. Her 2 daughters had suffered too much in their lives. She can live without anything, but her daughter doesn't want them to get hurt. Mom, it's really great. Qin 11 rushed over, but at the moment when he was about to touch Zhang Xian, he stopped and realized that his action was too rude. Hand down in astonishment, he sat down next to Zhang Xian with interest. Qin Meng also ran over and sat carefully next to his mother. Mom, can I touch him? Is it a boy or a girl? The curious tone was a bit nervous. Qin Dazhuang let out a long sigh of relief. His daughters didn't seem to be in conflict or hostility. This is the best attitude. Otherwise he wouldn't know how to convince the children. The palms and backs of his hands were full of flesh. He certainly didn't want his daughter to feel uncomfortable because of this child. Himself doesn't know where his biological parents are. The only thing he can be sure of is that his wife and daughter are all he has. I'm still too young now, how can I know whether he is a boy or a girl? Even if he knew, the doctor wouldn't tell mom, for fear of favoring boys over girls. Jang Xian touched her belly, took her daughter's hand and put it on her belly. He's not that big yet, you can't feel it. Jang Xian couldn't help but feel full of motherly love when she mentioned this child. After all, they are one's own flesh and blood. It is impossible not to have feelings. Qin Meng touched her mother's belly with a magical look on her face. Mom, give birth to a younger brother or a younger sister. They are our brothers and sisters. You can't take them. In the future, there will be my sister and me. We will help you take care of them. He promises not to make you tired. Qin Meng is particularly envious of children who have younger siblings. She has been the youngest child in her family since she was a child. She especially wants to enjoy the feeling of being a sister. She originally thought it would be impossible in this life. Who knew that she would still have this kind of experience when she was in high school? Surprise! Taking care of younger siblings seems to be a very happy thing. You can make money by yourself, and you can also help your mother take care of the children after school. That way, when you grow up, you will be closest to yourself. Imagine that a little follower is following behind you, calling her sister cutely. Qin Meng felt that he was totally willing. Qin 11 also said gently, Mom, Lottie is right, younger brothers and sisters are fine. We are no longer with you when we grow up, but there is still a younger brother and sister by your side. Don't worry, we will help you. Besides, there is also my father. As a father, my father naturally has to bear more responsibility. Looked at Qin Dazwan coolly. Her father's little tricks can hide this from anyone. It's just that I still want a son. To them, it doesn't matter if they have younger brothers or sisters. Both of them have confidence and can be their best selves. None of them worried about the future. Qin 11 has excellent academic performance and is almost a guaranteed student at a prestigious university. There is no need to worry about her future job. Qin Meng has a natural business acumen. She is very good at studying, and she is actually capable after studying. She is not as good as her sister when it comes to doing business to make money, and she is stubborn. Even if you can think of ways to make money while studying, the worst possible outcome is to be a tutor for others and do some odd jobs. But my sister is different. She has been very good at managing money since she was a child, and she is very good at doing business. When they were in elementary school, their father would pick them up and drop them off all day long, and the two of them had no time to do little tricks. However, since they entered junior high school, tutoring time would be late, and the younger sister would often do little tricks, otherwise how could she save money? For these tens of thousands of dollars. A little kid made tens of thousands of dollars in 3 years based on his own ability. This kind of ability is probably not comparable to that of adults. The two of them have experienced too many things with their parents since childhood. In their minds, they have never regarded the money their parents earned as their own. Their only idea is to rely on their own abilities to prove that they are capable. To support your parents, instead of getting more from your parents. So when parents give birth to a younger brother or younger sister, for them, it is just one more relative. Neither of them took their parents' wealth seriously. Her father's restaurants have been getting bigger and bigger in recent years, and her mother's clothing store has also become more and more popular, and it has even opened now. Garment factory. But in their minds, neither of them is interested in this. What they want is to start their own business. What she is interested in is electronic information. Today's technology is developing at a rapid pace. She is fascinated by digital programming and has put a lot of effort into it. Moreover, Her aunt encourages her to learn this aspect and tells her that in the next few decades, may be the world of electronic technology. Hearing what his two daughters said, Qin Dazhuang almost cheered, his face burst into laughter. He felt that the biggest obstacle was the opinions of his two daughters. You must know that the couple regarded the opinions of their two daughters as the top priority in their hearts. They were reluctant to hurt their daughters. Now that the two daughters have taken the initiative to speak out, it is better than the two of them. I agreed after some persuasion, which was a huge contrast. Qin Dazhuang, who was nervous just now, almost wanted to hold his two daughters and kiss them twice. Don't worry, my dear, no matter if you give birth to a younger brother or younger sister, our family property will be divided equally between the three of us. There will never be any preference for sons over daughters. No matter if you give birth to younger brothers or sisters, they will treat you too when they grow up as the closest relative. After passing the test of his daughter, Qin Dazhuang immediately felt happy and dared to say anything. Qin 11 and Qin Meng didn't even look at their father, their happy mouth corners almost splitting behind their cheeks. He also said that there is no preference for sons over daughters. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 765. Chapter 765, The Grown-Up Children. Song Zi threw his school bag on his shoulder and stood under the big locust tree at the school gate, waiting for his younger brother Song Zian to come out. Song Zi is the steamed stuffed bun, and Song Zian is the glutinous rice dumpling. The two brothers are 1 year apart, so they are not in the same grade, but they are in the same school. Teachers and classmates in the school couldn't help but shake their heads when they mentioned the two brothers. They are obviously two brothers from the same family. The elder brother is a complete academic scumbag, and the younger brother is the honor of their school and a natural academic master. Both of them dominate the rankings of their schools all year round. The younger brother is at the top of the list, and the older brother is at the bottom. Song Zi couldn't help it. His athletic and physical talents were inferior to those of his younger brother. Even if Song Zian trains hard in sports, he is still very different from himself. But when I saw those math problems, the English letters, he felt dizzy in front of his eyes. He is the best at deceiving and abducting people, but he is really not good at letting him do this. Song Zi could faint immediately after memorizing 2 ancient poems and essays. Song Zian is inferior to his elder brother in terms of athletic talent and reaction talent. But this does not prevent the two brothers from feeling as good as one person. In Zhang Xiaoxio's words, both of these brothers can wear the same pair of pants. 2 people are now students in this school, one is in 6th grade and the other is in the 1st grade of junior high school. Song Zian, hurry up, I've been waiting for you for a long time, hurry up, let's run home. Song Zi waved and saw that his younger brother had already come out with his school bag on his back and waved goodbye to his classmates. The middle school they go to is about 5 kilometers away from home. The two brothers never take the bus or ride a bicycle. They always run, go to school, run, and after school, run. It is equivalent to doing 10 kilometers of cross-country every day. Especially the books in school bags. Every day, many students leave unused books on their desks and only take home the textbooks for homework. The two of them are eager to carry all the textbooks in their school bags. For them, it's just a simple weight-bearing exercise. From the time they were 5 years old until now, the years of training have never stopped. The 10 kilometers cross-country trip with heavy loads every day is like a joke to the two brothers. Under the hands of their father, the two of them have already grown up significantly. If the traffickers who kidnapped them when they were children come again, they will probably suffer a lot. Even though the two brothers are young, they are not small at all. Song Zi is almost 1.7 meters tall. Even though Song Zian is 1 year younger than his brother, they are actually about the same size. Song Zian smiled and waved to his classmates, put his school bag on his shoulders, and ran towards his brother quickly. "Brother!" The two of them chased each other and finally walked in the door out of breath. Song Zi is slightly better. The twins Tuan Yun at home are now 8 years old and are playing a game of transformation. Two people often exchange clothes so that others cannot tell them apart. Seeing the eldest and second brothers, Song Zijing and Song Ziwen hurried into the house. The two little girls could not get any benefit from the eldest and second brothers. Whoever let his second brother is a golden eye, as long as you sweep casually, you can clearly divide it. If they want to play tricks in front of the eldest and second brothers, they are simply courting death. Since childhood, they have suffered countless losses at the hands of their eldest and second brothers. The final result is that they are punished by running cross-country or doing horse squats. The two little girls have already suffered enough. Song Zian and Song Moding are not very similar. To be honest, Song Zian did not inherit the appearance advantages of his parents. His face cannot be called handsome, but it is very characterful. His eyes are something many people have never seen before. They are extremely beautiful. He has jet black eyes, thick eyelashes, and jet black hair. The expression on his face is firm yet sensitive, with a hint of indifference. The indifference in his expression sometimes resembles that of Song Moding. His chin is a little longer, his cheekbones are a little higher, and his nose is slightly hooked, which otherwise would be considered ugly thanks to his eyes and lips. Song Zian often feels that he is dissatisfied with his appearance. He wants to be warm and handsome like his father, or as beautiful and strong as his mother. Unfortunately, everyone who sees him will be amazed, and it is a pity. Because he looks masculine. The eldest brother is not. On the contrary, the eldest brother is more like Song Moding, who is kind and gentle. Dan Fengjian always smiles, the corners of his mouth are always raised, and his face is never indifferent. In the eyes of everyone, the eldest brother is a talkative, gentle, and generous person, while he is more like the mean and indifferent class representative. The problem is who can know in private that their two brothers have opposite personalities. He is gentle and generous, with a soft heart, while the eldest brother is cold and ruthless. It can be said that he is as cold as a hard stone. When you get back, go take a shower quickly. Dr. Zhang is cooking today. He's making steamed beef dumplings. You'll have to get there early. Bai Yi said with a smile through the kitchen window. Bai Yi is already a 17-year-old girl. I graduated from medical university early. Who is a genius? It's not a problem to jump 3 levels in a row. The light is green all the way. Now all graduate students have graduated. I will be an intern at Hoyan Hospital soon. Mom, the sun is shining in the west today, and you actually have time to cook for us. Song Zi watched Zhang Xiaoxiao put the delicate steamed dumplings in his hands on the basket and start the fire. Boy, your mother and I finally had a rest today. Do you want to continue a 5-kilometer cross-country trip? Your father is sitting in the living room over there. Zhang Xiaoxiao threatened with a smile, and Song Zi shrank his head as expected, with a flattering tone in his voice. Mom, the dumplings you make are unparalleled in the world. I'm starving to death. Blinking his eyes, he gave Zhang Xiaoxiao a wink. Bai Yi smiles. Get out of here, you brat. This kid has been able to adapt to the changing circumstances since he was a child, and he is very good at it. Song Zi is the most naughty and mischievous person. But everyone likes this guy. Even though Song Zi is glib and out of tune, Song Zi will protect anyone who is bullied in this family. He is a boy who dares to risk his life for his family. Zhang Xiaoxiao looked at his eldest son. This son assumed the title of the eldest son in the family and had become one with the family. Beizai, the teacher called me and your dad again. What did you do this time? Zhang Xiaoxiao's unintentional words made Song Zi immediately rub oil on his feet. This teacher is real, but he just didn't finish the homework. What can he do? Those questions know him, but he doesn't know them. Zhang Xiaoxiao shook his head and sighed. This child never paid attention to his studies. Logically speaking, he was a smart child, but he just didn't know anything about his studies. Zhang Xiaoxiao is very worried about Beizai's future. In the future society, there will be no skills. Is it possible for Beizai to become a soldier? The only talent Beizai has is this. Song Moding said that Beizai seemed to be born specifically to succeed him, and he had never seen such a smart and talented child. But Song Moding was in danger several times because his peach survived. You will always die. From now on, Beizai will follow Song Moding's path. Who will protect Beizai for the rest of his life? Song Zian stood on tiptoe to help her mother place the dumplings. This girl had been living with Zhang Xiaoxiao and the others since Fang Xiaowai was paralyzed. Song Mohuan didn't mention that the existence of this child was his shame, so he just ignored it. Of course no one else mentioned it. Fang Xiaowai's life is probably only known to her. Song Mohuan works in the hospital almost 24 hours a day and never leaves home. Song Ziking, Fang Xiaowai's most precious daughter, is now 12 years old, but she has obviously inherited Fang Xiaowai's vanity. I heard that besides dressing up all day long, she also likes to hang out with the gangsters in school. No one can take care of her anyway. In addition to losing her temper every day, her mother almost always told her that Zhang Xiaoxiao was her enemy, Song Mohuan was a heartless scumbag, her grandparents were partial, and her grandparents were too old to die. I have never cared about whether she is happy or not, or whether she is doing well or not. Of course Song Mohuan really didn't treat their mother and daughter badly. The family hired an aunt and lived a carefree life. At most, he just didn't want to see them. No one seems to remember the girl Song Zian. Yan Yan, be careful if you burn your hands. Go and play with your brothers and sisters as long as your aunt and mother are here, go ahead. Zhang Xiaoxiao felt sorry for this child. He didn't know if this child knew something or if he had been sensitive since he was a child. Apart from being close to them, this child was almost unsociable with outsiders. There is almost no interaction with classmates, and she is also an anomaly in the eyes of teachers. The teacher also talked to Zhang Xiaoxiao and Song Moding. They believed that the child had intellectual problems, was withdrawn, was not gregarious, and most importantly, was a mess in his studies and was unable to take the exam. The teacher and the school suggested that this children can go to special education schools. Zhang Xiaoxiao is also worried about this. Normal diagnosis, Zhang Xiaoxiao believed that Song Zian had autism. With such a disease, what will this child do in the future? Her pill does not currently treat autism. Other peach juice, at most, can make Song Zian as healthy as a calf. Autism cannot be tolerated and cannot be cured. Fortunately, this child is close to Zhang Xiaoxiao and listens to everything Zhang Xiaoxiao does. Sure enough, Song Zian frowned, but still nodded obediently and went out to find the eldest brother and the second brother. Her brothers and sisters at home like her very much. Be nice to her. But the students at the school are not friendly. She still likes home. Song Zian pursed her lips quietly. Everyone thought she knew nothing. But she knows everything. Who makes her an alien from another world? On the first day he came, he almost died. When she was born prematurely, she knew that her mother was not a good person. The strange thing is that this mother is not a human being. He actually wanted to throw her away. Trapped in this body, she could only look at the sky and sigh. Thanks to someone taking her back. A gentle voice protected her in front of her. The moment Song Zian saw Zhang Xiaoxiao, she almost fainted. The sister who sacrificed for her in her previous life was actually Zhang Xiaoxiao. This kind and gentle woman became the woman who cared for her. Song Zian quickly fell in love with this identity. It doesn't matter, as long as I can be with my sister. It doesn't matter if you are a useless person. She doesn't care anyway. Fortunately, The broken system of that black-hearted mother has been directly absorbed by her own StarCraft system. Song Zian feels very happy to be able to live happily next to her sister. The following articles basically break away from the chronological structure. If you don't like it, you can stop here. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Lucky Bag is Reborn with Space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 766. Chapter 766. What are you going to do? Wu Weiguo was sitting in front of the table. After the door was closed forcefully, it caused a huge shock. The man appeared behind him immediately. Maintain that silence as always. The storm is still coming, we should invite Dr. Zhang back as a guest. Wu Weiguo stood up, twisted the vase on the bookshelf, and the entire wall began to slowly move away. A huge laboratory appears in front of you. The man watched Wu Weiguo disappear there silently. Turn around and leave. Zhang Xiaoxiao and Song Moding returned to the hospital. Yes, hospital. Zhang Xiaoxiao Hospital has long been no longer the obstetrics and gynecology hospital it used to be. Now with the addition of Zhang Xiaoxiao and Song Moding, Rena Hospital has become a general hospital. The director is Mrs. Wu, and the hospital has recruited 15 doctors from various departments, including internal medicine, surgery, gynecology, and pediatrics, which can be regarded as fully covering the needs of the hospital. Of course Zhang Xiaoxiao and Song Moding are already qualified as doctors. Because of Zhang Xiaoxiao's brain surgery skills and Song Moding's thoracic surgery skills, after the two most famous surgeries, their hospital's reputation has been growing rapidly, and many patients from other places come here. Their hospital has long been among the top 10 hospitals in the country. First place among private hospitals. Many foreign wealthy and dignitaries also patronize it, making it hard to find a bed. Zhang Xiaoxiao's life was going smoothly, with almost no worries. But after taking 2 steps from the parking lot, there was a man in front of me. Zhang Xiaoxiao frowned, with impatience between his brows. Here we go again. Why are you here again? You should know that I don't want to see him. In the past few years, Wu Weiguo came to see him countless times, but it was a pity that Zhang Xiaoxiao did not want to recognize him as his father. Dr. Zhang, you'd better come with me. The man has a very determined attitude, which I have never seen before. I don't go. Then don't blame me, I'm sorry. Zhang Xiaoxiao felt a pain in the back of his head and fainted. The man hurriedly put him half supported and half carried into the car parked at the back door, and the car drove away. When Zhang Xiaoxiao woke up, stars were still twinkling in front of his eyes. The dazzling light made her reach out to block the light. A gentle voice appeared beside her, drink some water. A glass of warm water was brought to her. Zhang Xiaoxiao took it and recognized the person in front of her. Her attitude did not relax and she put the water glass aside. Wu Weiguo sat on the sofa in front of Zhang Xiaoxiao. Zhang Xiaoxiao was lying on the other side of the sofa just now. I won't poison you, you can rest assured. The tone is teasing, and the eyes behind the gold-rimmed eyes are deep and complicated. Zhang Xiaoxiao took a few sips. Yes. No matter what, this is her father and it won't cost her her life. Mr. Wu, Uncle Wu, what do you want? Zhang Xiaoxiao sighed, things would eventually be revealed, but she didn't understand what Wu Weiguo wanted to do. The current status is the default for everyone. Mr. Song and Mrs. Song were unaware, Mr. Wu and Mrs. Wu were well aware, and Zhang Xiaoxiao was aware of everything. Wu Weiguo also acquiesced in this state. Getting along comfortably and walking around without rejection is not a good thing for them. Wu Weiguo wants to break all this balance. Disregarding the face of the Wu family, Song family, and Fang family. This is to cause trouble. She knew that it would not be good at all to reveal the mystery of her life experience. What's the point of having one more dad? I was really sad to hear you call me Uncle Wu. I am your father, your biological father. I just want to hear you call me daddy. Wu Weiguo's eyes were shining with water behind his glasses. Zhang Xiaoxiao sighed, Uncle Wu, you are so sensational when you come up, which makes me a little bit unbearable. If I understand correctly, you have been in prison for 20 years, and you are indifferent to the requests of your father and mother. You would rather go to jail a person who is unwilling to compromise even after 20 years in prison. You used this trick when you came up, which really surprised me. You are a big boss. You use such methods and style to make me feel a little incompetent. Let's talk if we have anything to say. We don't have any feelings for each other. You have to say that you really care about my daughter. Do you believe this when I say it? Anyway, I don't believe it. Zhang Xiaoxiao did not avoid it. Avoiding it would not solve the problem at all. The father-daughter blood relationship between her and Wu Weiguo had not yet had a chance to be verified, but she did believe it a little bit. Until now, she doesn't understand how Yehua stole Wu Weiguo's seeds. Otherwise, how could he have given birth to himself? Wu Weiguo would never have set his sights on Yehua. Yehua must have tampered with this. Hungxing's cheating. Yehua wants to mess with Wu Weiguo. Although he doesn't know the grudges involved, he really doesn't want to know. The problem is that it doesn't matter as long as it doesn't involve him, but it's obvious that his father wants to drag her into this vortex. But you also have to be willing. She is living a good life now, mainly because she has a large family and relatives. What happened to Mu Xiaocheng last time has served as a warning. Dr. Wu was the target, and she was the one taking the blame. But it is your own family members who are hurt. Now it is even more impossible to put his family in danger for Wu Weiguo himself. Wu Weiguo looked happy. His daughter was not stupid, she was very smart and wise. He revealed all this sharply, leaving no fig leaf for him at all. Chi Kuakyo must let him show his true colors. Since you said that, I don't deliberately act so affectionate. To tell you the truth, you are my daughter. I have not known that your daughter exists in the past 20 years. If my mother hadn't come back and said there was a person who looked almost exactly like me when I was a child, I probably never thought I would have a child wandering this world. Zhang Xiaoxiao nodded, this is the right attitude, this is the correct opening mode. So I was an unpopular child, right? Wu Weiguo smiled bitterly, this kid is really sharp. If I'm honest, the moment I first heard that you were Yehua and my child, I really didn't want you to exist. Although Zhang Xiaoxiao was mentally prepared, he still felt a little disappointed when he heard this, even though he had already learned experience from his previous life. Don't have high hopes for your biological parents, but she is a human being after all. Having flesh and blood, and possessing all the 7 emotions and 6 desires, how could it be possible for her to have no nostalgia for her biological parents? The original Yehua was extremely disappointed. Only could Zhang Xiaoxiao face Yehua with such cold heart and ruthlessness. When I suddenly found out that my father was someone else, I still felt a slight ripple in my heart at that moment. I hope there is someone in this world who really has expectations for her. But I didn't expect that the so-called biological father would be the same. She raised the corner of her mouth mockingly, that's how people are, they are always so determined, and after being hit repeatedly by others, they will always have expectations. It's better now. I've been beaten to pieces by others, so I can give up. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 767. Chapter 767. If you have a choice. If that's the case, why did you send someone to bring me back? There is no need for the two of us to meet. You don't want to see me or my existence. In fact, I don't want to see you either. I understand that my existence is a humiliation to you, which proves that there is some kind of connection between you and Yehua, and it is a connection that cannot be broken. Actually, if I had a choice, I wouldn't want you to be my parents. We are all on the same page. What do you want to do now? What value does my so-called daughter have to you? Zhang Xiaoxiao said sarcastically. There is no more confusion in my heart. Wu Weiguo felt a pain in his heart when he saw Zhang Xiaoxiao's expression. The child was extremely hurt by him and Yehua, otherwise he would not show such expressions and eyes. The cold eyes and distant expression prove that this child is resisting himself from the bottom of his heart. Wu Weiguo stood up and sat in front of Zhang Xiaoxiao. Zhang Xiaoxiao moved away uncomfortably. She was actually not familiar with Wu Weiguo. She doesn't have the kind of warmth that makes people feel no barriers because they are related by blood, or the so-called tacit understanding of being connected by blood. I'm sorry, that's only in novels. I really don't feel it. Some are just strange and alienated, just like a stranger. Xiao Xiao, I just started. I found out that Yehua had my child and actually gave birth secretly. I was angry at that time. I was really angry. Maybe you should know something about this woman Yehua. This woman is very selfish and cruel. She was the one who drugged my wine back then. Otherwise, I would never have had anything to do with her. I have seen through such a woman a long time ago. I feel sick when I see her. How could I be with her? Of course, I never thought that she would be so bold in giving birth to my child. Wu Weiguo's words made Zhang Xiaoxiao feel relieved for a moment. After listening to your words, I also understand why Yehua had to change the baby in the hospital. I always thought that I was carried by the wrong person in the hospital. I never understood Yehua. It seemed that he knew Fang Xiaohuai's identity from the beginning. She is not much better than Fang Xiaohuai. Although she is a little better than me, she is not much better. Obviously, this biological mother must know the inside story. I still don't know what the mistake is in this, because I can't imagine any biological mother being so cruel and wanting to exchange her child with someone else. She would rather go back with someone else's child than her own biological daughter. Now everything is clear. It turns out that I am not what she wants. I am the product of mistakes. You wanted to erase this mistake, and so did she. Zhang Xiaoxiao even laughed with bitterness, knowing the truth. This truth is really hard to accept. It is a really mixed feeling for a person to know that he is the least welcome of all people to come into this world. She knows how it feels to be a mother. Every time she sees glutinous rice balls, her heart is full and her eyes overflow with love. I wish I could treat this child as a treasure in my hand. That feeling made it impossible for her to imagine that a mother would be willing to abandon her own child. Now I finally understand. Because she is unwelcome and should not have been in this world. She was just a mistake. Wu Weiguo's big hand squeezed Zhang Xiaoxiao's. The unexpected closeness made Zhang Xiaoxiao feel disgusted. This is her father, but they are not familiar with him. This kind of physical contact will make her feel a kind of resistance in her heart. Zhang Xiaoxiao struggled to break free. Since you don't want to admit my existence, this situation is not very good. Why did you find me now? Zhang Xiaoxiao doesn't want to be immersed in illusions. After all the family ties in the previous life were unveiled, all that was revealed was hypocrisy and coldness. She would not believe it in this life. Wu Weiguo felt heartbroken. What had this child gone through to be hit to such an extent? He never had expectations to get family affection from his biological father. This expression and this attitude made him seem to see his former self. During those 20 years in prison, I was so indifferent and rejected everything. Look at everyone's attitude towards you from the perspective of a bystander, and be vigilant and defensive to resist the harm that others will cause to you. This child is only 33 years old, and he is full of vitality, but he is like an old man who has experienced the end of 1,000 sails. Those eyes that saw through the world made him feel sad. This is his daughter too. He wanted to love and take care of his daughter wholeheartedly, but instead he made her experience the cruelest and most painful things in the world. At this moment when the truth is revealed, this child's heart must be so aching. Xiao Xiao, I admit that I didn't want to admit your existence at first. I went to visit you secretly, and I looked at you from a distance. The moment I saw you, I couldn't help but burst out of my heart. That kind of feeling that I don't understand. I suddenly understood the meaning of a child when I saw a person who looked a lot like me, carrying my own bloodline and continuing everything I had. At that moment I laughed at myself. I thought Yehua made a mistake, but without me, how could this mistake have happened? Everyone in this world makes mistakes. The only person who is not wrong is you. You are innocent, as you said. If you had a choice, you would definitely not choose me and Yehua as your parents. Wu Weiguo burst into tears for the first time, holding Jiang's small hand like a child and crying non-stop. Zhang Xiaoxiao was at a loss. She has long been accustomed to facing family affection. She has made the hardest shell herself to resist all possible harm and seal it outside. She will never allow this so-called parental affection to hurt her. So what Wu Weiguo said was just within her expectations. I just feel that my heart still hurts faintly, but it is no longer hurt so seriously or so deeply. Because deep down in her heart, she has never believed in these people, and has never believed in them. The only people in this world who truly love, protect, and love herself are those within her own high walls. They are the ones who love themselves the most and the ones they love the most. Facing Wu Weiguo, he cried like a child. Zhang Xiaoxiao suddenly felt panicked. The Wu Weiguo who was aloof and profit-oriented in her impression suddenly became so soft. Let all her hard resistance be at a loss in this violent storm. She didn't know what to do. Comfort. Joke. Does Wu Weiguo need it? Just stood aside indifferently, watching with hands off. Zhang Xiaoxiao did exactly that. She told herself that she must not take down the high wall easily. There are people inside the high wall that she wants to protect. Once the high wall is taken down, the harm she suffers may trigger a greater linkage. She will not be the only one who will be hurt. It's everyone he wants to protect. It's not worth it for Wu Weiguo. The guy standing on the side couldn't stand it anymore, so he walked forward silently, handed Wu Weiguo a towel, took out the medicine bottle in his pocket, and gave Wu Weiguo a pill to drink. Zhang Xiaoxiao stood aside and watched silently, but did not speak, let alone ask. Wu Weiguo finally sat on the sofa and calmed down. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 768. Chapter 768 Anger. Brother He suddenly turned around, and the condemnation in his eyes seemed to swallow Zhang Xiaoxiao up. Zhang Xiaoxiao shrugged and spread his hands. She didn't want to do this, you asked for it? What else does the guy want to say? Wu Weiguo spoke. On the 5th day of the lunar month, you go do your own thing, you are not needed here. The man turned around and left silently. Zhang Xiaoxiao could feel the respect that big brother He had for Wu Weiguo. I'm sorry to make you laugh. I rarely lose control of my emotions like this, but at that moment, when I saw you being so cold and heartless, I felt very sad. In fact, after saying so many things, I just wanted to tell you. You are my daughter and I am your father. This is an unchangeable fact. If I could, I would never bring you here to say this to you. I hope you can live a peaceful and happy life, just keep living like that. But sometimes, things in the world are like this, and things are unpredictable. The simplest happiness is actually the hardest to get. Although I don't want to involve you or harm you, others will still put us together, who makes you my daughter. Some people already know this fact, and they are now starting to take advantage of it, hoping that I can compromise, But I absolutely cannot compromise. I brought you here because I have to tell you the truth. Otherwise, one day, you will face the most vicious comments in the world, and everyone will look at you differently. The mystery of your life experience will no longer be hidden. Wu Weiguo said these words apologetically. He did not expect that these people were so pervasive. Yet Huaju has already become like that, and there is still evidence. He should not have involved Zhang Xiaoxiao in the fact that this debt was real. If he had not gone to find Zhang Xiaoxiao or Ye Hua at the beginning, these people would not have connected all these things at all. It was his impulsiveness and small mistakes that triggered everything that followed. Zhang Xiaoxiao was stunned. What did Wu Weiguo mean? You mean someone already knows about our relationship and now wants to take advantage of it? You were asked to compromise, but you didn't compromise, so it's very possible that I woke up overnight and the direction of the world's public opinion has changed, and I became the crime that is blamed by thousands of people and despised by thousands of people. Wu Weiguo smiled bitterly. This child's words were really sharp. He could not refute these words. But what evidence do they have to prove that we are father and daughter? This is not a joke. Can anyone stand up and prove that you and I are father and daughter? If what I think is right, you have already solved it. Ye Hua is in trouble. Ye Hua is now paralyzed in bed, unable to speak or move his hands. With her condition like this, is it possible that she can still stand up and prove our relationship? Zhang Xiaoxin's heart sank. Wrong. There are also means. DNA. Zhang Xiaoxiao closed his eyes, then opened them. We don't have this technology at all in China right now. Who has the ability to extract samples from you and me for this test? Since I have been implicated, I think the secret you have concealed for 20 years should be revealed. At least the person in the world who has the most right to know the secret is me. You must let me know it until you die. I always don't want my death to be unknown one day, and I still have children, husband, and my family, and I don't want them all to die unexpectedly one day. At least I need to know what kind of force I am fighting against. Zhang Xiaoxiao was furious and tried hard to suppress his anger. She knew that her life was going so smoothly, which was a bit unexpected. The treatment of rebirth is so good. She had ever imagined that rebirth was that simple? Why should she be reborn? Is it because she saves the world and saves people? This reason is too weak. There are so many doctors doing the same thing. Why don't they have a chance to be reborn? Fang Xiaowai didn't do any good things, so isn't he reborn the same way? So I was waiting here. None of these things happened in my previous life. I still lived to be 80 at least. But this life is not bad. The appearance of Wu Weiguo completely overturned my peaceful life. I even changed the fate of all my family members. I have a happy family and a loving wife. Husband, my favorite son. Perhaps all of this was in vain because of the appearance of Wu Weiguo. What's the use of letting her live to be 100 years old even now? Watching the person she loves and loves the most suffer unimaginable blows and dangers of death. Zhang Xiaoxiao will never stay out of it. Her heart is filled with fighting spirit and anger. Protect everything she owns, that is her only goal now. Wu Weiguo saw Zhang Xiaoxiao glaring angrily and felt sour in his heart. Zhang Xiaoxiao was not doing anything for him. Is what he wants to get. You come with me. It's time for you to know everything. Maybe the only person in this world who can inherit my secret is you. If you don't know, if I die one day, all this will really be revealed. Annihilation. Zhang Xiao was cautious. The room behind the wall of the study. Zhang Xiaoxiao looked at the well-equipped laboratory. If she can come to a conclusion based on her accumulation of knowledge, this should be a biological laboratory. There is actually a biological laboratory in the old house of the Wu family, and it belongs to Wu Weiguo. Do the people in the Wu family know it, or do they not know it? Perhaps Wu Weiguo's imprisonment was related to this biological laboratory. So who built this biological laboratory? Theoretically, it is impossible for Wu Weiguo to build such an advanced biological laboratory with his personal ability. You must know that even abroad, it is difficult to purchase the equipment required for such research through normal channels. It needs to be approved by the state, and Wu Weiguo is just an ordinary person. Even if he was a wizard in the medical field back then, being a wizard in the medical field did not mean that he had such channels and connections. Moreover, this biological laboratory can be hidden for so many years and so deeply. How could it be possible without anyone to help cover it? Coupled with the fact that the guy was so respectful to him, I could see the guy's energy. Who is behind all this? What kind of power is hidden? Zhang Xiaoxiao suddenly felt confused. I have reached a confusing situation. Do you know what this place is for? I don't seem surprised at all from your expression. It seems like you know what this place is for. Wu Weiguo was surprised. Most people would be shocked when they see the secret, but his daughter doesn't look surprised at all, so no wonder it makes him very surprised. Zhang Xiaoxiao is calmer, more rational, and sober than he imagined. I couldn't help but feel proud. This is his daughter. This is a biological laboratory. Whose support do you get? Where are the sources of funding and operating organizations behind it? Are they threatening you with the danger you are about to face now? Wu Weiguo was shocked. Don't look at me like that. What I said are all facts. Anyone with a brain will make the connection. You said you were coerced, so it must be related to this. What scope does your research project involve? Generally speaking, biological experiments, it's probably related to something, military related. Are you really treasonous? Zhang Xiaoxiao raised his eyes. If Wu Weiguo committed treason, Zhang Xiaoxiao would really have no choice but to kill his relatives out of justice. She will not sacrifice her family and herself for Wu Weiguo. Their affection is not that great. Neither can my biological father. The benefits of my dad are not stained, but the possibility of death in non-life increases. Let her feel grateful. They have the desire to kill. You are overthinking. How could I do such a thing? This biological research laboratory was originally funded by the state, and all the equipment was provided by the state. I only have the right to use it, but I have no right to possess it. This kid really thinks too much. Then what you said is a bit inconsistent. Since it is a national grant, and these are funded by the state for research, then all your research results belong to the state. Why is it that no one comes to help you when you encounter this kind of coercion? I don't think the country will let scientists like you have their research results stolen by others. This makes no sense at all. Zhang Xiaoxiao didn't believe it. Pick up a scalpel at hand. The cut surface is sharp, and it is put into one's sleeves quietly. The research results have been handed over to the state currently. This biological research laboratory is in a state of neglect. There has been no funding since I went to prison. I went to prison because our research project was stolen by others. Some foreign institutions preemptively registered our scientific research results, and I was the only one who kept the results of the research project. Even I can't explain how these achievements could be stolen by others. So I became the biggest suspect. Furthermore, there once was an extraterrestrial meteorite in this laboratory. Someone brought it back at the cost of their lives. It was lost inexplicably in the laboratory. I cannot blame it. Over the years, the higher authorities have sent people to me countless times, just hoping that I can explain it clearly, but I can't. I still haven't figured it out myself. Zhang Xiaoxiao was slightly startled. There is such a thing. Wu Weiguo is really unlucky. How can I release you from prison after such a big incident? If I were the leader above, you would be sentenced to life imprisonment and sit in prison for the rest of your life. You will never be allowed to go outside. Your mistake is very serious. Zhang Xiaoxiao was still skeptical. Indeed, your thinking is the same as that of my superiors. They also think that I should be in prison for the rest of my life. However, I am the absolute authority on this project. So far, no one can surpass me. Since I ability and technology, so I made a condition. As long as I can use new achievements to atone for my sins, then I can be free. I just came out. You have been out for so many years, and they can coerce you now. It seems that you have developed new results. Zhang Xiaoxiao is keenly aware of the problem. His father is capable, and this is the source of her disaster. Indeed, new research results are about to be produced. If nothing else happens, my research results will shock the world. This time, because I was very careful, I was the only one who entered the entire research room. I didn't even have an assistant. Use. If the secret leaks again, the only option left for me is to die to apologize. In view of my strict defense, the other party had no way to take advantage of the loopholes, so they could only come up with this method to coerce me into handing over the results. Wu Weiguo pointed to the room upstairs. My latest research results are locked there. I can take you to take a look. My biggest worry is that one day I die, and this research result is still in the final step. I'm afraid that no one can complete this research. I just hope that if something happens to me one day, at least someone will inherit my legacy. Zhang Xiaoxiao paused and even took a few steps back. Wait a minute, first of all, I don't want to know what your research results are, and secondly, I don't want to pass on your legacy now that you've gotten to this point. You can't even protect your family or your daughter. I don't want to follow your old path. I just want to be an ordinary doctor. Treating diseases and saving people is my limit. Other national interests have nothing to do with me. Zhang Xiaoxiao's attitude was very determined. If he followed Wu Weiguo up there would really be no turning back. Just by looking at it, you can tell that people who contribute to the country must have a noble spirit of dedication, but she does not have it. She does not want to dedicate her whole life to anyone. Wu Weiguo was stunned. Xiaoxiao, you. I know now. I may die for something. This is enough. All I want to do is go back and start protecting my family. Your affairs have nothing to do with me, and I neither want to know nor interfere. In the first 23 years, I had nothing to do with you and lived a very good life. In the next few decades, I still don't want to have anything to do with you. If the other party exposes my life experience, it will turn into a scandal at worst. I can accept scandals, and I can also tolerate other people's gossip and criticism. However, let me sacrifice my family and myself to achieve your success. I'm sorry, but I can't do this. Don't say anything is for my own good. I don't need such good things. The face of the Wu family and the face of the Fang family have nothing to do with me. Even if it is the face of the Song family, I believe that this issue of face is really insignificant compared with the safety of the family's life. Okay, this is my choice, I want to go now. Are you going to stop me? Wu Weiguo sighed helplessly. The man really stopped him there. Waving his hand, let her go. When Zhang Xiaoxiao walked to the door, Wu Weiguo's voice came. The research I do is not something that you might think is shady. The research I do is aimed at improving the physique of ordinary people and providing the country with the best quality genes. Cancers, leukemias, etc. are actually related to certain genetic lesions in humans. Relationships, as long as you have this, you can contribute to all mankind. Let human beings live better. Aren't you a doctor? Isn't saving lives and helping the wounded your bottom line? Then this is the kind of change you should most welcome. I hope you can think about it carefully. Zhang Xiaoxiao didn't stop taking a step and walked faster. I'm dying. After being radiated by the meteorite, my health has been getting worse day by day. I don't have much time, otherwise I couldn't tell you. Humph, didn't you research something that could change genes? You can't even save yourself. Zhang Xiaoxiao didn't believe it at all. Wu Weiguo said with a smile, it's because those things were all tested on myself. My body has long been resistant to many diseases due to meteorites, so I used myself as a test subject. There is probably nothing I can do about it now. I won't live for more than a few months. My child, the only people I feel guilty about in this life are the old lady and you. I have a clear conscience about everyone else. If I die, the password is your fingerprint. Zhang Xiaoxiao left without looking back. This old man, when did he steal his fingerprints? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Lucky Bag is Reborn with Space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 769. Chapter 769, You have to walk the path you choose even on your knees. Zhang Xiaoxiao returned to the office. Biological laboratory, meteorite. What kind of father do you have? If you go by what Wu Weiguo said, then Wu Weiguo is really aggrieved. Wu Weiguo is going to throw this burden to her now? No way. Zhang Xiaoxiao was angry because he had not enjoyed the convenience brought by his father Wu Weiguo. Having never enjoyed his father's love, he had to help his father take the blame. Still a huge scapegoat. Isn't this just cheating your daughter? A father who cheats on his daughter, how can he be so unlucky? Zhang Xiaoxiao made up his mind, you are not going to die. Rest assured. As your only daughter, I guarantee that you will not die. It's not just about being terminally ill, what we are most capable of is treating illnesses and saving people. If nothing else works, this will definitely work. Zhang Xiaoxiao made up his mind. She even went to see Song Moding before getting off work. Such a major matter related to the safety of her family, there was no way she would not discuss it with her husband. This is a secret. The secret recipe has always been guarded by two people. Now they must make this decision together. Song Moding was silent for a long time when he heard these words, and he finally reacted in surprise. All right. This world is really fair. There is no ordinary person in their family. His shady father-in-law is actually a great person. No wonder that several times when they were in danger, they always felt as if their escape was too smooth. No wonder I always feel that many things go smoothly. No wonder children always have a pair of secret hands to help them when they encounter trouble over the years. It's Wu Weiguo. The couple made up their minds that Wu Weiguo must live. Wu Weiguo is worth more alive than dead. It's not to seek Wu Weiguo's protection, but to keep Wu Weiguo alive, and the target will not be Zhang Xiaoxiao. Who made his wife the biological daughter of Wu Weiguo. Mu Xiaocheng was able to verify at that time, and so can others. Song Moding drove Zhang Xiaoxiao to meet Wu Weiguo. Come to the ancestral home of the Wu family. However, he saw an ambulance at the door. The man and the medical staff were carrying Wu Weiguo into the car. Wu Weiguo was bleeding profusely and was dying. The moment he saw Zhang Xiaoxiao, he still burst out with incomparable power. Wu Weiguo stretched out his hand toward Zhang Xiaoxiao, go to, Rena, hospital. The man held Wu Weiguo's hand tightly and nodded silently. Wu Weiguo closed his eyes and passed out. Zhang Xiaoxiao and Song Moding drove and followed the ambulance to the hospital. Wu Weiguo was attacked and stabbed in the heart. Fortunately, the knife was slightly deflected, otherwise Wu Weiguo would have been really helpless. After Zhang Xiaoxiao checked, he found that Wu Weiguo was indeed what he said. This body has long been riddled with lung cancer, liver cancer, heart failure, cerebrovascular disease, and cardiovascular disease. Zhang Xiaoxiao thinks it is a miracle that he can survive to this day. Wu Weiguo really didn't take his body seriously. Zhang Xiaoxiao still felt uncomfortable. A comprehensive analysis of what Wu Weiguo said to her, Zhang Xiaoxiao can outline a person's life. Wu Weiguo is amazingly talented, extremely smart, and handsome. It stands to reason that he can become a professor and expert at the level of a national treasure, and enjoy the admiration of everyone. Become a top talent in this field, so I entered this research laboratory. It is a pity that after the research results of the so-called research laboratory were stolen, he became a major suspect. He had such an unjust reputation, but even with such a reputation, he still did not complain or complain at all. After being in prison for more than 10 years, he came out and still continues to shine in his field. This time he became unknown. Such a person who is persistent in his own ideals can be regarded as an idealist. Only the contribution of these people can lead to the rise of the country, the rise of science and technology, and the rise of medicine. Compared with Wu Weiguo, he might be more selfish and narrow-minded. All of Zhang Xiaoxiu's nobility and justice are based on ensuring the safety and happiness of her family. She can use her mother's heart to do everything a doctor should do. That is also her criterion. But the bottom line in all of this is required. Zhang Xiaoxiao cannot be like Wu Weiguo, who abandons all his relatives and family without any regrets. Dedicate yourself throughout your life. And what Wu Weiguo got in the end was just a body riddled with holes. After torturing his body like this, he actually had nothing left to live for. She just wants to use her last remaining energy to make a final contribution to all research. Listening to Wu Weiguo's words, she certainly understands that Wu Weiguo's current research is about to achieve its goal. If realized, the brilliant achievements created will shock the world. Wu Weiguo left all this to himself. The moment of enjoying the glory was given to her. But in the end, he just left the world in obscurity, carrying the crime and this broken body. Perhaps this was the only thing Wu Weiguo did for her daughter in the end. Zhang Xiaoxiao didn't believe that Wu Weiguo couldn't find a more suitable person. Sometimes she hates Wu Weiguo because this father has never shouldered the responsibilities of a father and is willing to abandon everything for his own research. Have never even fulfilled the obligations of a father. But she also sympathized with Wu Weiguo. There was no happiness for a person living to this level. Perhaps all the happiness in Wu Weiguo's heart comes from his research, perhaps only when facing those cold research laboratories. Perhaps he will feel a little relieved in his heart. Zhang Xiaoxiao gave him some peach juice to drink. This peach juice is the peach grown in my own spiritual spring. His body is riddled with holes. Even if he uses ordinary peach juice, it may not be easy for his body to recover. Almost no part of the body was intact. This was the first time Zhang Xiaoxiao had seen such a terminally ill patient. The peach juice in Lingquan needs to be pinched. The slightest difference is 1,000 miles wrong. If you want to save someone's life, you have to use this peach juice. If you want to save someone's life, you have to use this peach juice. Seeing that Wu Weiguo's heart rate has gradually stabilized, his whole body is slowly recovering. Zhang Xiaoxiao sighed and left. There is a man guarding the door and no one can come in. This man can be regarded as loyal. Haidiguo showed an eager expression when he saw Zhang Xiaoxiao coming out. How is he? Can't die. Zhang Xiaoxiao was angry. Why did the black man attack him for Wu Weiguo? It would be strange if she could not have any grudges. The man was speechless. He loves you very much. Although he has not recognized you all these years, he has sent people to protect you and your family. He never said it, but he did a lot. You are one of the people he still cares about in this world. 1. He has had a hard time these years, you don't understand, he. Zhang Xiaoxiao looked back at Big He. What does his suffering have to do with me? Did I make him suffer? The man shook his head. That's fine. He enjoys it himself, so don't complain about suffering. Who doesn't suffer? There is no one alive who doesn't suffer. You have to walk the road you choose on your knees. Who do you blame? Haidiguo chewed on that sentence and had to finish the road he chose on his knees. Yes. It was chosen by Wu Weiguo himself. Wu Weiguo's daughter is so sharp-tongued that she can't speak well for others. Continued to stand at the door expressionlessly. This is the only thing he can do. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 770. Chapter 770 Stop button. Song Zi and Song Zian did not come back. Zhang Xiaoxiao looked at his watch. It's already past 8 o'clock. School is over early. Even if Song Zi passes the high school entrance examination, it is not too late to study on his own at night. Song Zi never participated in makeup classes. Dr. Song, they haven't come back yet. Song Moding and Zhang Xiaoxiao got off work early today. Thanks to Wu Weiguo, the two of them got off work early today and originally planned to come back and stay with the children. Enjoy family happiness. Who would have thought that after two people took the twins back, they never got two sons? With a little worry in his heart, Song Moding picked up the car keys. I'll go pick them up, it's a rare occasion to pick them up. Zhang Xiaoxiao was a little uneasy, so he couldn't help but pick up his coat and followed Song Moding. I'll go with you, I don't know why my eyes keep twitching so much today. Ever since he knew the secret Wu Weiguo told him, Zhang Xiaoxiao always felt that something was going to happen, because what happened to Wu Weiguo was too worrying. The price Wu Weiguo paid is also difficult for ordinary people to pay. There are definitely not a few people who want to get these things from Wu Weiguo. Mu Xiaochen was probably looking for these things in Wu Weiguo's hands. And I am the fish in that Yangtze. It's only been one day, but it seems like it feels like a year. Zhang Xiaoxiao couldn't help but start to worry about his son again. Song Moding took her hand. Don't worry, I contacted Lao Jin yesterday, and Lao Jin has already found a few people. Someone is responsible for protecting the children and family. But you have me by your side. I will not let anything happen to my family. From now on. After what happened last time, I specially trained a group of people. I was just worried that this day would come, and now it comes in handy. Do not worry. How could he not know what his wife was thinking? The two of them set off and arrived at the school gate. Before they could park the car, they saw Song Zi and Song Zian being put into a van and the car sped away. Song Moding stepped on the brakes, turned the car around and hurriedly followed. The car followed all the way to Wu Weiguo's home. When Zhang Xiaoxiao and Song Moding arrived, they saw Song Zi and Song Zian with guns pointed at their heads and opening the door of the laboratory. Zhang Xiaoxiao yelled no, how could Wu Weiguo not grant permission so easily? A laboratory without defensive measures is a waste for others. You can tell with your toes that Wu Weiguo is not a fool. Zhang Xiaoxiao wants to pounce on him. Song Moding stopped her with force. He rushed over first. Those were his two sons. No matter what, he couldn't watch anything happen to his sons. At the moment Song Moding pounced on him. The men in black ordered Song Zian to press the button. Then there was a loud explosion, and flames rose up in front of Zhang Xiaoxiao's eyes. The father and son were instantly engulfed in the flames. Zhang Xiaoxiao frantically threw out all the peaches in his space, whether it was peach juice, pills, or others. But it still couldn't prevent them from being engulfed in flames. Song Zi and Song Zian were thrown out. Zhang Xiaoxiao looked at Song Moding covered in flames, like a messenger from hell. The last scene was Song Moding saying with a smile. Xiaoxiao, don't be afraid, the children are fine. Zhang Xiaoxiao rushed forward helplessly, trying to take out the pills, but found that all the pills in his space were suddenly empty. Everything had been thrown out because of urgency. Song Moding vomited a mouthful of blood. My heart ached, my vision went dark, and I fainted. Zhang Xiaoxiao hugged Song Moding tightly and shouted, go call an ambulance. This was the first time she was helpless. Zhang Xiaoxiao looked at Song Moding lying on the bed. It has been a year. Song Moding still didn't wake up. Seems like he is ready to sleep like this. Song Ziwen and Song Zijing were wiping their father's cheeks while one was massaging them. Song Zian rubbed Song Moding's arm. The look of concentration makes people feel very sacred. Mom, when will my dad wake up? Zhang Xiaoxiao felt sad when he looked at Song Moding, who was as quiet as sleeping. After the explosion, although Song Zi and Song Zian were burned, their lives were not in danger. Unfortunately, Song Moding fell into a coma completely and became a vegetative state. The men in black disappeared out of thin air as if they had never appeared. Song Moding vomited blood and fell into coma. He has been unconscious since then and has become a vegetative state. Zhang Xiaoxiao gave Song Moding the pills produced again in space. This time, the pills from Beishu Bailing were useless. For more than a year, Song Moding never showed any signs of waking up, lying like a sleeping beauty. It was motionless there. Of course, the doctor also said that his body functions are exactly the same as those of normal people. The burns and injuries caused by the explosion have all recovered as before. There is no trace of anything wrong with him. Even his internal organs and muscles have not shown any sign of decay after lying down for so long. But that didn't wake up. Checking his brain waves, it was like a dead person, his brain waves were motionless. Zhang Xiaoxiao has almost aged several years over the past year or so. A woman who is clearly in her 20s, has a lock of silver hair on her forehead, which is so unexpected that it makes people feel distressed. Because of that explosion, the entire country of Wu Wei was almost reduced to ashes. All research results were destroyed, and Wu Weiguo also woke up after the explosion. After waking up, he learned that his son-in-law had become a vegetative state after vomiting blood in the explosion. Wu Weiguo felt guilty and would never do any research from then on. A thorough wash of hands. Those people who are still paying attention to the Wu family and Zhang Xiaoxiao, whether overtly or covertly. After more than a year of experience, I realized that Wu Weiguo was serious. Suddenly, everything around him became calm. But the only one who is worrying is Zhang Xiaoxiao. In addition to being busy with hospital affairs, she also has to take care of her children and family, and also needs to study how to cure her husband. It is impossible for the hospital to give up, because the hospital is Zhang Xiaoxiao's hard work, which Zhang Xiaoxiao has built up bit by bit over many years. Zhang Xiaoxiao will never let the hospital close. The children grew up overnight because of this incident, and their father grew rapidly after he became a vegetative state. They began to act like big children, taking care of their father in the hospital and taking care of their mother's daily life. Bai Yi became the acting president of Rena Hospital, replacing Song Moding and Zhang Xiaoxiao in charge of the hospital. Mr. and Mrs. Song lost their most beloved grandson. Mr. and Mrs. Song fell ill in bed. Mr. Wu and Mrs. Wu, who felt sorry for Zhang Xiaoxiao, finally decided to explain the truth to Mr. Song and Mrs. Song. Mr. Song and Mrs. Song just found out that their grandson-in-law is actually the granddaughter of the Wu family. Mr. Wu died of a heart attack due to self-blame. Wu Weiguo now stays by old Mrs. Wu's side all day long, taking care of her to atone for his sins. I don't know, it should be soon. Zhang Xiaoxiao gently wiped Song Moding's cheek, and he would wake up. Song Moding is still as handsome as before. Time has not left any traces on his body. He seems to be simply asleep. All time was frozen in his body. When can you wake up? Zhang Xiaoxiao sighed softly. Song Ziwen and Song Zijing looked at the way their father looked at their mother, feeling inexplicably distressed. Home doesn't feel like a home at all now. All the laughter seemed to have hit the stop button at that moment more than a year ago. Song Zian's eyes were full of anger. Anyone who ruined her happiness should die. She didn't wake up because she didn't want to, but now someone has offended her. Her sister was trapped in the darkness. Damn bastard, no one noticed that a big hole sank into the cement floor under Song Zian's feet. The eldest brother and the second brother are as good to her as a treasure. Whoever dares to bully her in school will be protected by the eldest brother, the second brother and her sister. But now the person she loves most is actually attacked. Song Moding, who loved her the most, played with her, and grew up with her, actually fell into a coma. These people all deserve to die. A week later, there was news on the news that a group of unidentified people died. The scene was very miserable and there was no one left alive. Within a month, news continued to emerge, and several very well-known organizations were blamed. Song Zi and Song Zian also disappeared. They followed Jin Dachuan to where their father was. They vowed to become strong men who could protect their families and the weak. It is their wish to become a person like their father. Their departure made Zhang Xiaoxiao sad for a long time, but her son was already a grown-up, so she had to agree. Respecting the children's choices is also her choice. End of this chapter.